A careless mother abandons her 6-year-old daughter on a highway. In the rain, the child screams desperately, watching the car disappear. "Mom," but the rain is too loud, and her mother hears nothing. The next day, while trying to hitch a ride, the child suddenly appears in front of the same woman's car. The woman brings the girl home. Fortunately, the child's life is not in danger, and she soon regains consciousness. The driver feels relieved until something strange happens. The girl doesn't remember who she is. She starts saying random things about butterflies flying around and mistakes the driver for her mother. The driver panics, thinking the girl has lost her mind. Afraid of having to take responsibility, she plans to run away once the girl falls asleep. But at the door, she runs into a police patrol. At that moment, the girl wakes up, runs outside, grabs her, and cries out, "Mom!" Terrified that the truth of the accident will be exposed, the driver has no choice but to take the girl with her. "Is this your sister?" "Hey, she's crazy. Why are you doing this to me? Look, your nose is all dirty. Why are you two fighting? She just woke up. Why are you bothering her?" "Yes, Mom." The driver plans to leave the girl somewhere else. Her own family is poor, and her deceased ex-husband left behind huge debts. She knows she cannot afford to raise another child. That very night, loan sharks show up. The girl cleverly pretends to be foolish and calls another woman Mom, making the loan sharks believe the driver has already sold the car and fled. They leave, and the driver and her daughter escape danger. That is when the driver realizes that keeping the girl might not be such a bad idea. She takes the girl to a rural village and rents a broken-down shack. She gives the girl a new name, unaware that this decision will one day change the fate of both her own daughter and this child. There's a bug. A bug. Where is it? EW. You killed it with your hand. That's disgusting. I saw that big sister was scared, so I helped her. In the days that follow, the driver treats the girl like free labor, making her do all the dirty work while sparing her own daughter. By then, the girl has been missing for 3 days. Only then does her real mother realize she is gone. When her husband asks about their daughter, she is shocked. Days earlier, when she was leaving the house, she had argued with her husband, wanting to make her mother happy. The girl secretly got into the car holding a handmade Lucky Charm, Fukabukuro, to surprise her. But on the road, her mother was driving fast and an accident occurred. When the mother steps out of the car to check, the girl also looks outside and sees a man lying there, lifeless. Terrified, she screams and runs out of the car. At that exact moment, the mother gets back in, starts the engine, and drives away from the accident site. She never realizes her daughter got out. From beginning to end, she believes she was alone in the car. Later, she recalls seeing something in the rearview mirror, but she wasn't sure. Holding on to hope, she rushes back to the car. Inside, she finds her daughter's Lucky Charm. Her hope collapses. Her daughter truly had been in the car, and she lost her. What is this? The woman blames herself endlessly, but her devoted husband comforts her, saying she must never admit that she lost their daughter. Otherwise, neither her husband nor her in-laws would ever forgive her. He quickly goes to the police station to file a report. Together, they print missing posters and distribute them all over the streets. But no information comes in. The next day, the father stares sadly at his daughter's drawings, unable to figure out how to find his beloved child. Suddenly, he remembers something she once said. "The dying yard is so beautiful, right? Even the sky is beautiful, like colors fighting each other, like a rainbow. I've drawn it so many times, but it's still unfinished." That's when he gets an idea to organize a drawing competition. Here, the mother treated the two sisters very differently. The older sister was always dressed like a little princess. Every day, she ate cream bread specially made by their mother and attended expensive piano lessons. The younger sister wore torn, worn-out clothes, had dropped out of school, and spent her days serving tea and water at her mother's small roadside food stall. Sometimes, she was even made to dance to attract customers. Despite all this, she never received even a moment of affection from her mother. Instead, she was beaten and scolded, called a useless mouth to feed. Influenced by their mother, the older sister also treated the younger one cruelly. She ate fried noodles, jjajangmyeon, while forcing the younger sister to eat only radish kimchi. One day, when the younger sister was late bringing her school bag, the older sister kicked her to the ground and angrily demanded why she hadn't come sooner, complaining that her delicate hands were tired, acting like a spoiled young miss. The younger sister, terrified, apologized, saying she had been so busy with work that she forgot. She quickly ran away to avoid further beating. Still unable to vent her anger, the older sister tried to tear up the younger one's drawing, but then her eyes eyes landed on a poster for a drawing competition. The poster said the winner would receive a full scholarship all the way through university. Her eyes lit up. She quickly picked up the discarded drawing and was stunned by how beautiful it was. What she didn't know was that this competition had actually been organized to find that very younger sister. Meanwhile, the real father of the lost child, his hair now gray with sorrow, remembered how his daughter loved drawing the dying courtyard. He thought that if a competition like this were held, perhaps his daughter might appear. He shared the idea with his wife, and posters were put up everywhere. The younger sister had lost all her memories due to the accident, but her love for drawing remained. When she saw the poster, she decided to participate, but the older sister saw this as her chance to escape poverty. Over the next few days, she secretly practiced by copying the younger sister's drawings, pretending to be clueless so she could steal her techniques. How should I show the feeling of wind this time? Like this, pulling the kite string diagonally, so it looks like a really strong wind is blowing. To stop the younger sister from entering the competition, she submitted only her own application and told her, "You don't need to fill anything out. When I applied, I filled yours too." "Really? Thank you, sis. But just applying isn't enough. Don't get your hopes too high." On the day of the competition, the chaebol wife wasn't very confident in her husband's idea. But when she saw a child's drawing that looked exactly like her daughter's, she became emotional and rushed to meet the artist, only to be disappointed. "You're not Eunbai? Oh, I'm sorry. We must be mistaken. Please continue your drawing. It really looks just like Eunbai's work, but it's not her. Why did you draw the dying courtyard?" "Because it looks like a rainbow to me. So beautiful. I've drawn it many times, but I still want to draw it again. Like a rainbow." "A rainbow? Then why did you draw a kite?" "There are no kites in the courtyard." "Because a strong gust of wind came. I thought a kite would fit perfectly into the scenery. This dying courtyard is fake. Without the kite, it can't be our real courtyard." "They like my drawing. If I win first place, I won't just get the scholarship, I'll get a chance to study in Seoul. Judges, please choose me." The chaebol couple couldn't ignore such an unbelievable coincidence. They asked the older sister to stay, declared her the winner, and treated her to a grand feast. Hesitantly, they asked who else was in her family. The older sister began lying again. She claimed she was an orphan living with an aunt who sold alcohol. Crying, she said the woman beat her and never gave her proper food or clothes. The couple was heartbroken. They promised to support her education fully and take her to Seoul. The older sister had achieved her goal, but now came the problem: how to deal with her real mother. She told her, "From today on, I'm not your daughter. I'm an orphan, understand?" "You brat." "Saying that to me? What orphan?" "Fake nonsense." The mother had worked day and night to raise her, and now her daughter wanted to sever the relationship. The older sister explained that she had won the art competition and that wealthy people in Seoul would educate her all the way through university. She would be able to study without worrying about tuition. Then she said, "This benefits you too, doesn't it? You always said you'd do anything for me. So now, just do this. Stop saying you're my mother." These words pierced the mother's heart. She collapsed to the ground, suddenly looking like an old woman. The younger sister couldn't bear it and scolded the older one, but she didn't listen. Instead, she threatened her. "Don't call me sister anymore. I don't want my future ruined because of anyone else." She forgot that without copying the younger sister's drawings, she could never have won. She also didn't know that the younger sister was actually the chaebol couple's lost daughter. All she wanted was to escape poverty. That night, after their mother fell asleep, the older sister left behind a farewell letter and said to the younger one, "Take care of mom for me. I'm giving you this jacket." Then she left alone for Seoul. The letter read, "Mom, I'm not doing this just for myself. I'll become rich. Then I'll buy you a big house. I promise. Until then, think of me as dead." After arriving in Seoul, she visited luxury malls for the first time and bought designer clothes she had never even dared to dream of before. Any remaining guilt she felt toward her mother completely disappeared. She believed this was the life she deserved. When the sales assistant brought her old clothes, she said, "Throw them away. I'll never need them again." She then went with the chaebol couple to enroll in an elite school. There, she saw her real mother, who had come searching for her despite the fear of being humiliated. The older sister's face stiffened, but she quickly regained her composure. Loudly, she asked the chaebol couple if they truly planned to educate her. They repeated their promise, even mentioning sending her abroad. Hearing this, the mother abandoned the thought of taking her daughter back and quietly left, pretending not to know her. "Let's go, hurry." Watching her daughter leave with the chaebol couple, the mother's heart shattered. She had never seen her daughter that happy before, and so, despite her pain, she let her go for a better life. And the real daughter, who deserved all of this, spent the next 15 years out of school, working at her mother's food stall. She never complained. After long days of work, she learned sewing to earn extra money and gave everything to her mother. Don't forget, meanwhile, the older sister completed university and even found a wealthy boyfriend. The Chable couple kept their promise and raised her like their own daughter. But just when she thought life was finally perfect, another truth appeared before her. She was pregnant. The girl deliberately kept the child of her so-called rich boyfriend, a second-generation heir, inside her womb, believing that by giving birth to a son, she could secure her place in a wealthy family. But the day she went out to eat with him at a restaurant, her entire world collapsed. She discovered that her rich boyfriend was actually just a waiter, and the food he used to bring her wasn't prepared by servants in a mansion. It was simply leftover food packed from the restaurant. The truth was unbearable. She broke up with him on the spot. Ignoring his desperate attempts to explain, she coldly walked away. The very next morning, she went to the hospital and lied, saying the baby's father had died and asked the doctor to terminate the pregnancy. But the doctor refused. She was already 6 months along. There was no choice but to give birth. But the girl didn't give up. She went to a sauna. Ignoring the sign that clearly said, "Pregnant women prohibited," she stayed inside a 100-degree sauna for 3 straight hours, until she was nearly unconscious. She forced herself to vomit after meals. Every day, she tightly wrapped her stomach with bandages, climbed onto stools to clean dust, washed clothes with her feet in freezing water, venting her anger on her own body. After all this, signs of miscarriage finally began to appear. But when she saw blood on the bedsheet, she panicked. She was living in the Chable couple's house. If Mrs. Chable found out she was pregnant before marriage, she would be labeled immoral and thrown out. Terrified, she started cleaning the sheets. Late at night, she secretly washed them in the bathroom, only to be caught by Mrs. Chable. Her heart nearly stopped. When questioned, she couldn't say a word. Then Mrs. Chable noticed blood on her leg and, frightened, rushed her to the hospital. The doctor immediately realized she was pregnant, but the girl kept denying it in front of Mrs. Chable. After Mrs. Chable stepped out to pay the bill, the girl finally told the doctor the truth. She fell to her knees beside the bed, begging him to keep her secret. She said if her family found out, the baby wouldn't survive. The doctor took pity on her. He told Mrs. Chable that the girl was suffering from hormonal imbalance due to stress and sent her home. That's how she escaped. But one day, with just 1 month left before delivery, she was struck by severe abdominal pain. She knew labor had begun. She didn't want to go to the hospital. Enduring the pain, she took a taxi and headed toward her real mother's village. She called and told her mother to wait at home. Her mother was shocked by the call. For 15 years, her daughter had claimed to be an orphan so she could continue receiving money from the Chable couple. Something felt wrong. That evening, as soon as the girl stepped out of the taxi, she collapsed unconscious onto her mother's shoulder. Terrified, her mother carried her inside. At first, she thought her daughter was sick, but when she saw the swollen belly, she understood everything. There was no time for questions. She helped her daughter deliver the baby herself. To avoid alerting the neighbors, the girl didn't make a single sound throughout the labor. A baby girl was born, but the girl never looked at her even once. "Don't ask anything. I don't have the strength to talk. Look, she's beautiful, just like your daughter. If she's my daughter, then why should I keep her? Wait a little. I'm leaving. Go make dried fish and seaweed soup quickly." By morning, without breastfeeding her even once, she abandoned her newborn and left. She left a note instructing her mother to take the baby to an orphanage. She believed everything would be fine after that. Her mother did take the baby to the orphanage, but she couldn't bear it. She brought the child back and decided to raise her herself. Meanwhile, the younger sister, raised in poverty in the village, became an apprentice at the home of a top-class tailor. But the house gave her a strange sense of familiarity. The familiar dying courtyard, the familiar structure. It felt as though she had been there before. Especially when she entered the drawing room, the feeling grew stronger. Guided by childhood instincts, she easily found the path to what had once been her own room. The next day, when her teacher sent her to the storage room to fetch fabric, she once again found the correct place effortlessly, despite supposedly not knowing the layout. That's right, I'm right. She then effortlessly located a box that had been carefully hidden. Inside, it was full of kites. "Mom, what is this?" Inside kites, the same kites we used to fly in the dying courtyard. Seeing this, the professor, the master tailor, rushed over. He recognized them instantly. These were the very kites his lost daughter, Unbai, used to play with 20 years ago. But even he didn't know they were still here. Then how did this girl know? The girl was just as confused and couldn't answer his questions. At that moment, the professor saw a glimpse of Unbai in her. A sudden thought struck him. Could this girl be his long-lost daughter? He immediately went to a close friend he had known for years and asked if she had ever heard that this girl might actually belong to this family. The friend friend understood at once. She said she didn't know about her childhood, but yes, the girl was believed to be an orphan. She admitted she herself had suspected the girl might be Eunbai, so she had secretly conducted a DNA test using the girl's toothbrush, but the results didn't match. Hearing this, the professor returned to his room, devastated. What he didn't know was that the girl's foster mother had already discovered the friend's investigation and had secretly replaced the toothbrush beforehand. A few days later, the professor suddenly noticed a drawing in the girl's bag. It was identical to Eunbai's artwork. His hands began to tremble. He was certain this had to be Eunbai's drawing. The colors, the details, even the kite string, everything was exactly the same. At that very moment, while searching for fabric in the storage room, a flood of childhood memories rushed back into the girl's mind. The sudden recall made her dizzy. The professor opened the door and saw Eunbai as a child, standing on a stool. Eunbai. The girl turned around, her face contorted in pain. She began muttering incoherently about the story of a red-eyed wolf and a small lamb with a pure white heart. Then she collapsed backward. Luckily, the professor caught her in time and carried her to her room. The drawing, the hidden kites, and that story, everything confirmed it for him. This girl was truly his daughter, Eunbai, lost for 20 years. For final confirmation, to avoid any mistake, the professor secretly took her for a DNA test the next morning without telling anyone. The results came quickly, but he was afraid to open the file. What if she wasn't Eunbai? The doctor finally said, the match is 99.9%. The professor broke down in tears, overwhelmed by the joy of finding what he had lost. Really? Yes, she's really my daughter? The results were just confirmed. Didn't you see her leave? The professor realized the girl had already left after seeing the results. He ran out of the hospital and found her sitting alone on a bench. Father and daughter were reunited after 20 years. But when the girl's real mother, the Chable wife, found out, she refused to accept it. Jang Bo-ri? She's our Eunbai? How could a girl raised among such low people be my daughter? When Mrs. Chable found out that the daughter she had been searching for over the past 20 years was actually a lowly village woman, she completely broke down, crying uncontrollably. She simply could not accept that such a woman could be her daughter. When Bo-ri came forward to gently wipe her tears, Mrs. Chable shoved her away. Angrily, she shouted, "How did you turn out like this?" Her daughter had been beautiful and intelligent as a child. Even if she had been lost for 20 years, she could never have become such a crude, uncultured village woman. And on top of that, she had crossed every limit of shamelessness, giving birth to a child before marriage. Hearing such words from her own biological mother shattered Bo-ri's heart. She told Mrs. Chable that yes, after getting lost, she never got the chance to study. She had no formal education, but she had always built her life through hard work. She had never once thought her life was wrong or shameful. She apologized for disappointing Mrs. Chable so deeply, and she added, Mrs. Chable need not worry. If she didn't want her, Bo-ri could continue living as Jang Bo-ri. She didn't need to become Eunbai, her daughter. Saying this, Bo-ri left with her child, her heart heavy with sorrow. After returning home, Mrs. Chable saw the black sesame porridge, her daughter's favorite. She broke down in tears once again. She truly could not accept her daughter's village identity. But even more than that, she felt deep shame and regret toward herself for failing to recognize her own child. Remembering how cruelly she had treated Bo-ri, her heart finally softened. You gave birth to a child whose father is unknown. You let her wander around like this. How dare you? How could a filthy woman like you be my daughter? There was someone else who couldn't accept the truth. Mrs. Chable's adopted daughter, Min-jong. If she hadn't interfered and hidden Bo-ri's childhood photographs, perhaps Bo-ri would have remembered everything earlier and reunited with her real parents long ago. Min-jong couldn't even imagine what would happen if her foster parents learned the truth. But what she feared most finally came true. There are more photos of Eunbai here. These are pictures of Eunbai from before she disappeared. This is true, right? Foster mother. Yes, it's all true. Where did you find these? My mother said they were found in young lady Min-jong's room. When Min-jong returned home, her foster father slapped her hard without listening to a single explanation. Tell us, why did you steal Eunbai's pictures? Why did you lie to us? You did all this, didn't you? So that we would never find Eunbai? Is that why you did it? Min-jong tried to speak, but her foster parents refused to listen. From that moment on, they began to ignore her completely. They wanted to abandon her. At dinner time, when Min-jong came out with the maid Jean to set the table, everyone ignored her. Mrs. Chable asked for her food to be sent to her room. Soon after, Chable and his wife also made excuses and left. Mrs. Chable declared that from now on, only teacher Jean would cook. Min-jong panicked. She had left her biological mother at a very young age and come to Seoul so she would never have to live in poverty. I didn't come to Seoul to be thrown out like this. Even if I have to die, I will never live a life like my mother's. To maintain her luxurious life, she set her sights on the younger son of a partner company's chairman. Pretending to be pure, strong, yet pitiful, she awakened his sympathy. He even rejected a well-matched proposal just to stay with Min Jong. But what she never expected was that the chairman's elder son began dating Bo-ri and even brought her home, announcing their marriage in front of everyone. Min Jong's heart nearly stopped. Taking advantage of the moment when the chairman spoke privately with Bo-ri, Min Jong dragged her biological mother, who worked as a maid in the chairman's house, outside. She ordered her to immediately flee abroad with the child. If the chairman's family found out that Bo-ri's daughter was actually Min Jong's child, everything would be over for her. After giving the order, she calmly returned inside as if nothing had happened. At the same time, the chairman had no idea that Bo-ri was the long-lost daughter of a chaebol family. He completely opposed his elder son marrying her, insisting he should marry a girl from a respectable family. The son hurriedly said that Bo-ri was not the maid's daughter and that she had found her real parents. Before he could finish, Min Jong created a scene. She scolded Bo-ri angrily, accusing her of abandoning the aunt who raised her just for marriage. Furious, Bo-ri stood up and silenced Min Jong. Who are you to question me? Who decided that poor people don't deserve to be parents? That only the rich matter? That's you, not me. You will be punished. You stole someone else's life. May lightning strike and split your head open. With those words, Bo-ri left the chairman's house. But as soon as she reached home, she realized something was wrong. The bag and the passport, both are gone. Bo-ri's mother had come from the village to attend her daughter's wedding, but Min Jong stopped her right at the door. Nervously pulling her aside, she demanded to know why she had come, constantly looking back to make sure her wealthy groom wouldn't see her, because she had always claimed to be an orphan. Sensing her daughter's anger, the mother trembled as she explained that she only wanted to see her in a bridal dress. From her bag, she took out a pair of gold rings, bought with her entire life savings, to give her daughter as a gift. But Min Jong didn't even glance at them. She threatened her mother, saying that if she wanted Min Jong to live peacefully, she should never appear before her again. But I came all this way. I brought them especially for you. I said I don't want them. Can't you understand? Min Jong snatched the rings from her mother's hands and threw them away. As the mother bent down to pick them up, a motorcycle came speeding toward her and crashed into her, knocking her down. Inside, Min Jong was preparing to enter the wedding hall when she recognized her mother's scream. But the wedding was about to begin. She forced herself to remain calm, pretending nothing had happened. Secretly, she went behind a window to see what condition her mother was in. At that moment, Min Jong's ex-boyfriend arrived. He found her mother lying in a pool of blood. He rushed to lift her up and tried calling Min Jong, only to see Min Jong watching from the upstairs window. Furious, he shouted, "Is marrying into a rich family more important to you than your own mother's life?" But Min Jong heard nothing. She cut the call and began her wedding, smiling beside her wealthy groom. The man felt helpless. He decided to postpone exposing Min Jong's true nature. He took her mother to the hospital. Fortunately, she had only suffered injuries and was discharged soon after. But seeing her mother safe, Min Jong showed neither relief nor concern. To keep her secret of having given birth hidden, she ordered her recently recovered mother to immediately leave the country with the child, somewhere no one spoke their language. The mother felt uneasy, but she had always obeyed her daughter, so she boarded a bus to the airport with her granddaughter. However, the little girl didn't want to go abroad. At the airport, when her grandmother got distracted, she slipped out of the arrival hall and followed a stranger onto a bus. Sitting there, she kept repeating only one name and address, her real mother, Bo-ri. Meanwhile, Bo-ri returned home and discovered that her foster mother and daughter were gone. She immediately suspected Min Jong's involvement. She confronted Min Jong and pressured her to reveal the child's whereabouts. Seeing Bo-ri's desperation, Min Jong felt pleasure. Mocking her, she said, "If you love children so much, why don't you give birth to one yourself? Why raise someone else's child?" Bo-ri's anger exploded. She slapped Min Jong hard and hissed through clenched teeth, "Don't be so happy. I didn't reveal the truth about your child because I was afraid for her safety, not because I was afraid of you." But Min Jong remained unaffected. During their argument, Bo-ri's boyfriend, the chairman's son, arrived and told her that the foster mother and child were at the airport. Without thinking, Bo-ri ran toward the airport, but the little girl was deliberately hiding from her. Seeing her mother, she curled up, making herself as small as possible. She knew that if her mother kept her like dead weight, she would never be able to marry Uncle Inwa. So she planned to hide for a few months until her mother got married and then return. To avoid being caught, she kept talking to herself. From now on, you can't hear, you can't speak. You can only listen with your heart and speak only inside your heart, okay? Do you, Dan? But her plan failed. The very next morning, a security guard found her and took her to the police station. After much effort, she was finally brought back to Bo-ri. I'm sorry, Mom. I'll never do this again. Dad, Inwa, promised that he'd get permission and marry you. That's why I won't go anywhere now. Yes, don't go anywhere without me. Life has no meaning for me without you. One day, Minjong's husband suddenly noticed a pair of rings in her bag, rings he had never seen before. Engraved on them were 2 initials. Suspicion crept into his heart, and then, as if something clicked in his mind, he rushed back home with the bag and quietly watched his wife's face as she saw the rings. These aren't our wedding rings. Are these 2 rings yours as well? Minjong casually replied that she was seeing them for the first time and, without hesitation, threw them into the trash. But the man felt she was lying. And indeed, a little later, when he stepped out of the room, she returned in panic and began searching the trash can for those very rings. At that moment, he was certain his wife was hiding something. He had no idea that these rings would soon drag him into a pit of unbearable pain. The next day, the man secretly installed a GPS tracker in his wife's car. Following her vehicle, he traced it to an old warehouse. What he saw there left him stunned. His own friend, Jae-sang, was brutally hitting his wife and throwing her to the ground. Minjong, shamelessly crawling on the floor, clutched Jae-sang's leg, crying and begging him for forgiveness, only to be kicked away again. The man screamed for them to stop and ran forward, holding his wife. Minjong, are you okay? Seeing her fragile condition broke his heart. He stood up and began punching Jae-sang furiously. You bastard! How dare you touch my wife? Who do you think you are? Just then, the secretary arrived with security guards. Seeing the situation, they restrained the man and tried to calm him down. On the other hand, Jae-sang, despite being beaten, showed no anger. Slowly standing up, he spoke like a sorrowful elder brother, telling the man that if he didn't want to be ruined like him, he should open his eyes and see who his wife truly was. Then Jae-sang took out a remote and pressed a button. A video began playing on the warehouse wall. In the video, the man saw Jae-sang proposing to Minjong. Today marks 3 years of our relationship. I prepared this commitment ceremony. It feels like a dream. And the proposal rings in the video were the same ones he had found in his wife's bag. Suddenly, everything made sense. Minjong was the very woman Jae-sang had once spoken about, the gold digger who ran away after abandoning her boyfriend and child. The man remembered how Jae-sang had warned him not to marry Minjong. Your marriage to Minjong can still be canceled. This is loyal advice from a senior you once helped. Minjong cannot love anyone, and she doesn't deserve anyone's love either. Back then, blinded by love, he had ignored the warning. Now, realizing he had been fooled like a fool, rage consumed him. He turned toward his wife. There was no love or pain left in his eyes anymore, only deep hatred. Minjong made one last attempt, but he slapped her hard, sending her to the ground. No matter how much she begged, he did not waver. Don't forgive me. It's okay, but don't leave me. My life has no meaning without you. I beg you, let me stay with you. Even if you're not rich, it's fine. Even if I never sew clothes again, it's fine. Why? Tell me why I obeyed everything you said. Coldly, the man turned his back on her. The next day, he sent divorce papers. But what he never expected was Minjong suddenly saying she was pregnant. What's wrong? Is your stomach upset? Maybe I drank too much coffee. This crab, it smells terrible. Take it away. What? Are you pregnant or something? Throwing up in the morning. Pregnant. Minjong plunged her hand into flames burning at nearly 3,000 degrees. The pain was unbearable, and she screamed, but she didn't pull her hand back. Her wedding diamond ring was inside the fire. Her child was already gone. That ring was her last hope of getting her husband back. Even as the ring burned black with heat, she didn't let go. She quickly looked toward her husband, only to see him driving away into the night. Her heart shattered. Clenching the ring tightly in her fist, she walked toward the edge of a lake. She had lost all desire to live. Just then, her mother arrived, panting, and saw her daughter slowly stepping into the deep water. She screamed Minjong's name and ran toward the lake. But Minjong couldn't hear her. Her face was filled with despair, her mind replaying only the happy moments she had shared with her husband. In desperation to save her, the mother forgot her own disability and jumped into the lake, trying to pull her daughter back. Even though Minjong had abandoned her in pursuit of wealth, a mother could not watch her child die. She forgot one thing: she couldn't swim. By the time Bo-ri and Inwa arrived and pulled them to shore, the mother had already lost consciousness from drowning. At the hospital, her heartbeat nearly stopped. At that moment, Min-jong was overwhelmed with regret. She finally understood who loved her the most in this world, her mother. She knelt outside the hospital room and begged Bo-ri to wait until her mother regained consciousness before sending her to jail. But this time, Bo-ri did not soften. "Don't you dare call her mother. How do you even have the shame to still be alive? To save a daughter who abandoned her, my mother suffered her entire life. Did you ever once pity her condition? You'd have been better off dead. Bring my mother back." Earlier, while working at her ex-boyfriend's factory, Min-jong had deliberately pressed a crane button, endangering his life. A car's dashcam had recorded everything, with solid evidence. She was arrested for attempted murder. Soon, 3 years passed. Min-jong was still in prison. Her burned hand was horrifying to look at. The diamond ring had fused deep into her flesh. Yet she refused surgery. Her mother survived, but due to oxygen deprivation, her brain had been damaged. She became childlike. Bo-ri's mother took care of her. Bo-ri took over her mother's master tailor business and lived happily with In-hwa. Eventually, Min-jong was released from prison. She completely gave up her obsession with wealth and returned to her mother's village soup restaurant, Tangjip, hoping to make up for lost time with her mother. But she soon realized her mother recognized only Bo-ri, not her. "My daughter? Are you crazy? How can you be my daughter? My daughter is Bo-ri. Do Bo-ri." Min-jong's heart broke. To stay close to her mother, she began dressing like Bo-ri. She cared for her daily and helped run the soup stall. Even when her mother scolded or hit her, Min-jong endured it all. Slowly, her efforts bore fruit. After many years, her mother finally spoke her name. "Come home, Myong-e," the dog's name. Min-jong-ah. "Mom, what did you just say? You said my name? You remember who I am." "Thank you, Mom. Thank you. You finally remembered my name." Min-jong-ah come eat. Suddenly pauses, thinking, wait, were you calling the dog? Even if she had been calling the dog, for Min-jong, it was enough that her mother remembered her name. "Catch that girl, the dog," laughing while wiping tears. "Yes, Mom, just say my name. Even once a day is enough. Even if you're calling the dog or a cow." Hearing my name in my mother's voice, I feel like I'll start crying.